Support for WCBU's On Deck comes from State Farm agent Aaron Kilgore. A Peoria native and active community member, Aaron can help customers with auto, home, and life insurance needs. Information at aaronismyagent.com.
Peoria Ballet's spring production is just around the corner. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Friday, April 19th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, inspectors with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources say the abandoned mine that froze progress on the construction of a third landfill outside of Edwards isn't actually there. But different interpretations of the contract to build the landfill may still stall construction for a while longer. Landfill Committee Chair Stephen Morris says there's questions about whether GFL Environmental will honor reduced gate rates. The discounts come from the original agreement in 2009 made with Peoria Disposal Company, well before it was acquired by GFL.
It's our position that we're entitled to get the new rate wherever the waste goes. Okay, but that's a contractual determination. Contractual dispute, if you will.
GFL did not respond to multiple requests for comment. Morris says it's unlikely that Landfill 3 is completed by the time Landfill 2 fills up later this year. There are alternatives like the use of transfer stations or another GFL-owned landfill in Tazewell County, but they're not ideal.
None of them are as palatable or as affordable as what we thought was going to happen, which was Landfill 3 would be ready to receive waste at the moment that Landfill 2 was closed. And that clearly is not going to happen.
Morris says the current estimate is that Landfill 2 will be full around this September. He doesn't know at this point what, if any, effect that could have on the cost of trash collection. Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. Environmental and community advocates are backing legislation that would create new regulations for carbon capture pipelines in Illinois. And top brass at the U.S. Postal Service are deciding to proceed with plans to move mail sorting from Peoria to a Chicago suburb 88 miles away. Find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. Peoria Ballet's spring production of Sleeping Beauty is sure to dazzle audiences of all ages with a full cast of fairy tale characters, elaborate costumes and props, and much more. On this week's episode of Out and About, WCBU's Jody Holtz sits in for May Gilliland Wright of Arts Partners of Central Illinois to chat with Peoria Ballet's artistic director Ian Thatcher and executive director Wendy Thomason about the production taking place April 26th through 27th at 5 Points, Washington. For tickets, visit PeoriaBallet.com.
So in the full-length Sleeping Beauty, which we're doing, but it can run up to 2.5 to 3 hours. So there's many dances that most professional companies do edit out. So we're keeping the time down, and we're bringing in some more fun and humorous elements and just making it a fairy tale fantasy.
So tell me a little bit more about some of those elements, not to spoil anything or give anything away, but what makes this production particularly unique?
Actually, my wife will be performing as Maleficent, or Caraboss in the ballet, and she brings a level of gravitas and sinister but yet fun. I think kids will be intrigued but a little scared. And I, too, will have a small part, just because I'm going to be the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood and the Wolf.
That's fun. That's fun. And tell me a little bit more about what challenges come with, being the artistic director of a production, but then also having a role as a performer. How do you balance both of those?
To begin with the younger students, having to work the technique and the cleanliness is precise. It's classical ballet, so that is precision, but then there's all this pantomime and acting, because ballet is being told without any, vocals. You're telling a story through dance. So getting these kids to understand how to move, how to project with just their hands to tell the story it's challenging, but they get it.
And I think what it adds to having Ian and Molly on stage, I think with them being professional dancers and having professional careers, they bring a whole different level to the stage, and it really inspires the children. So the students get more excited, and they kind of raise the energy level, and you can really feel in the audience. So I think it really keeps the energy high.
So let's talk a little bit about the rest of the cast. I understand it's quite large and includes both, students and faculty of the Academy. Tell me what we're working with here.
So we have over 60 people dancing in the show. It's a really wonderful experience. We've been rehearsing since January, so a lot's gone into it, but it's really an important part of the training. So the students come for their technique classes, but when they're cast in a show, it goes beyond just the actual steps that Ian was describing earlier, but it's how you interact with the audience and how you connect with an audience and tell the story. And being in front of that live audience, you can't replicate it in the studio. So it's really comes full circle and completes their training and experience as dancers and performers.
And I think that's something that many people look forward to seeing when they attend the ballet is not only the dancing, but the costumes and the scenery, and especially with this being a Disney show. Tell me a little bit more about what we'll see on stage and the work it really took to sort of bring this to life through some of those more technical components.
Well, the costumes at Peoria Ballet are top-notch. They're up there with any major market. A little spoiler, lots of fairies are involved. So lots of wings have been made, handmade, all of them. Tutu takes, I don't know.
It takes about 100 hours to make a pancake tutu from scratch. So it's a lot of time. It's a labor of love. It's all volunteers in our costume shop.
So something unique about the show is that there is this meet and greet component, which is available after the matinee performances. Tell me more about, what's included in that and why it was important to the Academy to add something like this.
So we like adding this component to our spring show every year. And so children can come up on stage after the show. They get to meet all the dancers face to face, and then we pull some of the props out. And so I think it's important for them to get a closer look at things, especially it might inspire them maybe to be in a dance performance or maybe be in a play or a musical. They can really see.
And they get a view of the stage, too. So you watch them all go up on stage. It gives them a unique perspective.
You've been listening to Highlights of Out and About, a weekly production of WCBU and Arts Partners of Central Illinois. To catch the full interview, subscribe to the podcast or visit WCBU.org.
Support for arts and culture coverage on WCBU comes from PNC Financial Services. PNC is committed to supporting local art and culture events in the communities they serve.
Now, before we let you go, Bradley University's Band-O-Rama Palooza Fest starts tonight with a performance by the BU bands at 7:30 p.m. at the Dingledine Music Center. That concert is $10. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, or Spotify.